doing exactly that so that we could then share good practice. I didn't expect very much, but I was absolutely inundated. In fact, I had more invitations than I could actually go and see lessons. And they were fantastic lessons. I saw wonderful teaching. I stole all their ideas, took it back to the department, shared. It was really, really fantastic. My department were feeling empowered. I wasn't going in and beating them up. They were starting to feel good about themselves. In fact, because I was learning to give them autonomy, but reassure them I would be there to catch them if they did trip, they were starting to get brave. I was valuing what they did. I've never done that before. I was telling them what I thought they'd done well. You do it with the kids, but I wasn't doing it with my own colleagues. So, the department was starting to volunteer to do the learning conversations. The whole thing was starting to come together for me. My team members were feeling empowered, good about themselves, and so they should. They're great. Autonomy with support. Focusing what they do explicitly, so they'll do it again, and they are. They keep doing it. And they started taking the lead. I very rarely lead a learning conversation now. My team leads. They know what we need to do, and they will let me know the week before what they'd like to follow through on. So what next? As part of Leadership Pathways, you do have a project, but it's not as formalised, I think, as NPQH. My project, and it seems so blindingly obvious it was embarrassing, my project is to do my job properly. I'm not suggesting I was lazy or lacking ability before. I'm very conscientious. I work very hard. But I was doing my job as a teacher, not a leader. It's a different ballgame this year. I'm able to do my job properly. My project is to improve GCSE results. And for the first time, I feel we might be heading in the right direction. I've got a final core day in May when I will have to present, much as I am to you now, and explain how my project went. I won't, of course, have the results by then, so I won't know at that point whether we have in fact improved our results. But what I can tell you, absolutely categorically now, is I have a much happier team. We're much more focused. We're focusing on children's learning and our teaching. This course really works. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tammy Prince, and I'm the head teacher at Garforth Green Lane Primary, which is a school in Leeds. And some of you may actually recognize that I don't have a British accent at all. I'm American. I started my career 18 years ago in the United States, where I trained, and I taught there for 10 years. And then a lovely Yorkshire lad brought me back to England, where I continued my career. Now, if you would have asked me 18 years ago, or even 8 years ago, 5 years ago, possibly even 3 years ago, if I wanted to be a head teacher, I would have said no. Absolutely not. And for a variety of reasons. But as my career progressed, I had some really fantastic head teachers who encouraged me to actually take some chances. I became a Key Stage 1 coordinator. Then eventually I became an assistant head teacher. Then when I became the deputy head teacher, I thought, you know what, I can do this job. Now, one of the things I did know about becoming a head in the UK was that I needed to do a program called the National Professional Qualification for Headship, the NPQH. And at the time, very busy person, how can I do my job as well as do this course? Last year, the end of 2007, heard about the redesign of NPQH, and the redesign was much more personalized, which I was really excited about because I believe in personalized learning, and it also involved a lot of online learning, which also excited me. It's always been something I've been very interested in. So I went ahead and decided I'd go try for the program. The application is the first process in the whole thing. And turned in my application, was accepted. My application was accepted. At that point, I was invited to a 2-day assessment, where that was very much like what the Leadership Pathways does, but they do it on different core days. It was all done in one day where they look at the different ways that you approach situations, deal with situations, and analyze data. At the end of that day, I was told about my strengths and my areas for improvement and told whether I would actually be able to continue on with the program, which I did. And then that brought me into the program itself, which is mostly online. We have one introduction day. The rest of the stuff is done online. There is some coaching aspects, but the coaching aspects can be done both online, WebEx, telephone, or face-to-face. And then at the end of the program, you have your assessment, which is just the one day. The program experience for me has been fantastic. I have a young family. I didn't have the time to put in where I have to travel here, there, and everywhere for all these different days, face-to-face meetings. I work very odd hours. Sometimes this might be 3 or 4 in the morning. Sometimes it's late at night. Or sometimes it's just for 10 minutes, or sometimes it's for the whole day. So I had the flexibility with the NPQH program, this new redesign, to actually do that it met my needs. Also, I don't like doing paper exercises just to tick boxes. So with the whole personalization and knowing exactly what my areas for improvement were, I was able to work through the program concentrating on those things, as well as being able to work with people all over the country because it's online, you have a lot of different people you get to talk to. The impact it's had on me is that I've received this qualification. It's given me time to reflect about my own practice as well as improving those areas that needed improvement. On the school side, I was able to choose projects that actually fit the needs of my school as well. So I wasn't doing something and it was just left off to the side. I was actually able to do the work that actually had an impact on the children in my school, as well as the family and the community, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Now, what I'm going to show you here in these next slides is the actual program itself that's online. This is a fantastic program that allows you to work through the 6 standards for headship in a way that's very interactive. There's a lot of different types of media that's used for you to learn different aspects. There's interactive modules, and there's also areas for like the work learning place and the other wider opportunities that takes you throughout the NCSL website to gather the information that you need. This is a slide from one of the modules, one of the getting started one. And as you can see all the way to far side, there's a lot of different sections. With this new model, like I told you, I was able to work on areas for my improvement. And not all of those sections I needed to actually work on. So I could skip and choose the areas that I needed to work on, and just what I did was just read over really quickly the areas that I actually do well and reflect on that. This also allows for bookmarking, so I could come back to it anytime I wanted to come back to it. This again is another module. What I liked about these modules is that from here you can also go and debate with other colleagues throughout the country. So it didn't matter if someone was all the way in Leeds, or if they were in Manchester, or if they were in London, or even Dover. Everyone could work together on a project and discuss and reflect on each other's progress as we move through the program. There's a reflection side, which is the learning logs, and as you work through the units, you take your own notes you want to take about the program, any questions you may have, any ideas you have, and you can make these either public or private. Now, if they're made public to only the NPQH training heads and the learning facilitators that are within that group. If you made it private, which is what I usually did, is for my own notes and my own reflection. And if I want to use it for my assessment at the end, then I can use it as evidence for my